And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, estate sales, and safe money. Your number one consumer advocate here in Tampa Bay, with our goal being to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
I want you to pull out your smartphone and save our consumer advocate number in your phone, because at some point you're going to need it. It's 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
We want you to save that number. It's our consumer advocate hotline. You can text, call, leave a message. My promise is to get back to you before our head hits the pillow. It's 813-917-1894.
Baby, don't forget my number.
And I want you to bookmark realestateradiotampa.com. Realestateradiotampa.com. You can see all of our expert contributors and links to all of our partners there, contact information, blog information as well, a plethora of resources for you available at our website. Of course, we're on Instagram, social medias, all the cool websites out there, social media sites, we're there. So we got an all-star lineup for you today, and I want to jump right into the introductions here. I got Danny Triplett, Full House Liquidation Estate Sales, back in studio.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun being on the show. I always love being here. It's a lot of fun getting to talk on the radio and, share what we do. We're going to talk a little bit today about estate sales, some of the sales we have coming up, something new that we're offering this year, which is certified written appraisals and on personal items of personal property. Going to talk a little bit about some feel-good stories with some sales we did in the past just recently, and some offers. We have a good offer for people out there.
Nice. So. All right. Good deal.
Blue, you're my boy!
And also Michael Lysenko. He's our safe money coach. Lots to talk about today, Michael.
Absolutely, Brandon. It's great being here. We're going to talk about educating yourself on what's going on with your money, opportunities for protecting it against some of the volatility. A lot of things going on in the news right now. Got a great offer that free consult to sit down and figure out what we like to term the perfect savings plan for each person. Yep. And we'll go into more details on that.
Excellent. And also, as always, Jason Salmon, our co-host and expert buyer representative with Platinum MVP Realty. The Wolf is in the house.
Yes, always great to be here. Today we have another edition of Ask the Real Estate Quarterback, as well as some other news in real estate and business, so stay tuned.
And before we jump into this great content, I want to touch on a couple of hot listings. I got an open house going on right here in South Tampa in Beach Park, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 2. It's at 414 South Royal Palm Way in Tampa. This is a beautiful beach park home, and it is listed at $1.295 million, and it's a distinguished South Tampa beauty, and it's a historical property here with many upgrades and just a lovely, lovely home. Also, another South Tampa property here available at 4702 West Browning Avenue in Tampa. This is $499,000 just off of West Shore at Browning and Sunset Park subdivision. A great opportunity. And 527 Cloverleaf Drive in Lithia, Florida. 3-bedroom, 2-bath property listed at $2.1 million. Now, the majority of the value is in the 52 acres that comes along with this property. Great development for any home builders, investors out there that might want to have that opportunity to have a piece of paradise here in beautiful Tampa Bay.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
This segment is brought to you by the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a wonderful job cleaning all of our real estate properties. You see their cars whipping around out there, the yellow and blue branding, and referred for a reason as the Maids. And they come in and let you know how, who was there, how long they were there. They're in and out. 4 fine folks come in and out, and typically about an hour and a half, 2 hours, your house is cleaned well, and it's got us in a good mood here at the Real Estate Quarterback Show. All of our properties looking good. So shouts out to the Maids, and let's go ahead and jump into this content. Danny, Full House Liquidation, estate sales. Thanks for being a longtime partner of Real Estate Quarterback Show. And, shows like American Pickers, Antiques Roadshow. I mean, people love watching this stuff on TV, too.
They do. It's a lot of fun. Estate sales are a growing phenomena or trend in the United States. A lot of people, it's been around for years, but, a lot of people find out about it. Every week we have people signing up on our website to, find out more about the sales. We get phone calls from people constantly who find out, hey, there's a service out there that can actually help us do what? And we, it's a growing trend. So I want to talk a little bit about estate sales, what they are, just for those of you who are listening that might not understand exactly what an estate sale is. A lot of people have heard of them before. They're not sure exactly what it is or how it could help them. In real estate, obviously, a lot of times here in Florida, you have loved ones that live down here. A lot of times his parents live in Florida. They've retired. Their loved ones are here. And a lot of times, unfortunately, as we get older, we pass away, and that's just part of life. And a lot of times, the families are putting the house on the market. They contact a realtor. The realtor, in turn, a lot of times contacts our company, Full House Liquidation, to conduct an estate sale for that family. And families a lot of times don't realize the value that they have in their homes, just in the contents.
Right.
We also offer certified written appraisals if they want to know what a certain item is worth particularly. But as far as the in general contents of their home, a lot of times when a family member will pass away and the family wants to put the house on the market, they want to get it cleared out. They'll take a few things that they want, memorable things, but a lot of other families live up north, so they don't have, the feasibility to haul all this stuff off. What do we do with it? Do we just donate it? Do we haul in a dumpster and just throw it away? What do we do with it? Our company comes in and actually can make them a good amount of money. You think about just this room we're sitting in right now. Think of what would the retail value be on every single thing in here besides the four walls. There's a lot of retail value in here if you start adding up every single thing that's in this room. Yep. And, not that we sell things for retail value, obviously, but when things are sold, we usually get somewhere between a third and half of what it was retail. So that adds up pretty fast in a home.
On that point, too, when you have this buyer list, because you've been doing it for years, you've got over 2,000 people, I believe, last time we spoke, on your buyer list. So, for some people that, let's think about it. In real estate, there's for sale by owners. People want to try to sell it by themselves, rent it by themselves. Right. But an estate sale is something that you can get so much more value by bringing on someone like Danny Triplett with Full House Liquidation.
Absolutely. People don't realize well, first of all, what's involved in doing an estate sale. That, like you said, they'll try to do it themselves, whether it be trying to sell the house themselves or sell the contents themselves. And obviously, anytime you're dealing with something that's overwhelming like that, especially when someone's lost a family member, they don't want to have to deal with that on top of it all. Right. So, finding a company that has the experience, that knows what to do, that knows what your things are worth, that's a big thing. People don't realize the value in their homes or in the contents. Right. We just recently, recently, it was sometime last year, we sold something for a lady that she didn't think it was worth much. To her, it was just more of a personal memento. We ended up sending it to Sotheby's up in New York City, and it sold for $10,000. Yeah. So, the people don't realize, and even not just the specific things, even just the general contents. If we sell the contents of a home, generally the contents of a typical home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, full of stuff, will sell somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 for the contents, and they're going to receive 60% of that. Our charge is 40%, a little less than a consignment store. So they're going to end up with a nice chunk of change at a time when they're grieving. They need some money, maybe, to take care of either closing costs, they're selling the house, or upgrades, or funeral expenses, any kind of thing.
And you do all the work.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Is the biggest thing of that would be that you don't have to do all the work entailed in that. Yeah. I'm sure you guys are there for quite a bit of time and all the pricing and everything it would take to do that. Yeah. That would be kind of the incredible part, especially if you think about when you're grieving. Do you really want to go through how much is this worth? How much am I going to sell this for? No, kind of takes that off their plate, makes it a little easier.
Exactly. That's our big thing, is just relieving them of that, especially during times like that. Yeah. Like you said, they don't want to have to deal with that at a time when they're grieving. And it is time consuming. It takes us sometimes 2 and 3 weeks to get ready for a really packed estate sale. Some of them take less time. It's all about finding out what the things are worth. So it does take us some time to find out what certain things are worth. There's a lot of things we see that are typical. Of course, we see over and over again. But we also offer certified written appraisals. I got my certified personal property appraiser's license last summer.
Nice.
So we're doing personal property appraisers. We're going to talk a little bit about that in our offer. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, yeah. Let's do it. We have an offer out there for those of you who are listening. For the first 3 callers that call in to the studio number here, which is 813-917-1894, we're offering a free 1-hour verbal appraisal. We'll come to your home. give you an idea of what your things are worth. You can ask us however many things you want to. You can walk us through the house for an hour, ask us what is this worth, what is that worth. We'll give you a verbal appraisal for an hour. It's a $100 value for free. Just call in. The first 3 people that call in or text the words. I'm sorry, not call in, but text
Either
the
way.
words.
Yeah.
Either way, text Full House. That's the name of our company to 813-917-1894. We'll give you a 1-hour walkthrough verbal appraisal. So that's a
Awesome.
good offer.
Yeah, thanks for getting that offer out there.
Yeah.
And the Consumer Advocate Hotline, you can text or call 813-917-1894 and text estate sales or full house liquidation. And and another great point too that sometimes so many people overlook, especially with for sale by owners as well in real estate. And I can imagine with estate sales, with the lines that you're going to bring to these folks home, people are lined up out by I've seen some of the pictures on your website, but is the security side. You've got security issues to take into account.
Yeah.
Danny always has armed security folks there as well. And, so we're going to hear more from Danny Triplett, Full House Liquidation. We got Michael Lysenko. He's our Safe Money coach coming up soon. We're going to talk about the market, a lot of this stuff happening out there, a lot of geopolitical things happening in the Middle East. You got Iran, you got the oil things happening, a lot of cool stuff to jump into. So, and also when we come back, Jason and I are going to talk about more bad news for renters from CNN Money, a story out of CNN Money here talking about the rents are rising. Harvard did a study talking about the rents rising. We've seen that here. Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Bradenton, Sarasota, the whole Gulf Coast of Florida is a hot place to be. That's why you see a lot of these investors buying up real estate, turning around, investing in the property, and raising the rent. So there's a lot of things happening around the geopolitical, but you've got that economy out there, and then there's the economy in between your own ears, and that's what we want to focus on. We want to help you live a better life and be your consumer activist here with the Real Estate Quarterback Show. So realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty. I'm a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Over 50 current listings. Featured in Florida Realtor Magazine, Tampa Bay Business Journal multiple times. Recognized for innovations with marketing. And I'm in studio with the all-star lineup. It's Intelligent Talk Radio, and I've got some intelligent folks here in studio. You just heard from Danny Triplett, owner of Full House Liquidation. Michael Lysenko, he's our safe money coach. We're going to come right back to him. And Jason Salmon, our co-host on the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And this segment is brought to you by Hula Bay. It's our official restaurant partner right around the corner here from the studio. It's on West Shore, right on Tyson, down by Freedom Boat Club. It shouts out to Hula Bay, Mike Finnegan over there. Great restaurant, waterfront dining, awesome experience. And I got an open house going on right now over at 414 South Royal Palm Way, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 2. At 414 South Royal Palm Way. Now, this is a $1.295 million property, so buyers need to bring their pre-approval letter if they want to come into that property. And we've got 2440 Wilson Avenue in Largo. This is a opportunity for a duplex here, an income property. $262,000 is a great opportunity, and we're going to talk about the rents here in a moment and things happening for passive investment opportunities there. And also 14708 Camp Mack Road in Lake Wells. This is a beautiful property, 4-bedroom, 4 and 1/2 bath, $799,000, and it's a true gem. It's on the river over there in Kissimmee, the Kissimmee River. So check out our website, Real Estate Radio Tampa, for any of these properties, and also program our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone, 813-917-1894. So, Michael, what's going on in your world, man?
Brandon, it is crazy out there. If you like roller coasters, you should go to Busch Gardens, not necessarily put your money in the stock market right now.
Yeah.
How do you guys like this market, huh?
Yeah, it's ups and downs, and right now we're experiencing that down, right?
Exactly. So we are the safe money experts. Everybody asks me the question, what is safe money? Well, you could put money in a bank and it's safe. Problem is you don't get a lot of growth on it.
Yeah.
So we look for opportunities of growing your money like the stock market, where you get the decent double-digit returns, but to protect it against market losses too. And our 3 things we like to focus on is safety, security, and prosperity.
Yeah, and you know, when he talks about protecting, he's not saying stuff it in a mattress. No. You know what I mean? He's talking about really giving it a chance to actually grow, even in market volatility like we're seeing,
especially
right now.
in market volatility, because you want to sit on. Sometimes it's good to be on the sidelines until the volatility kind of works its way through.
Yep.
Problem is most people's money are working its way through with the market volatility. You wake up one day, the market's down 10, 20%. It's down. The Dow Jones is down 10% since November, and just this last week, about 4 to 5%.
Yeah.
Talk to me about oil right now, because sometimes people think about oil being down. Why is that not a good thing? I know they're cutting jobs now for the big oil companies, but what's the impact there?
Well, the impact on oil is interesting because it affects companies, it affects other industries. It's great for the consumer. Gas prices are down. The problem is there's so much uncertainty in other sectors of the market that people aren't taking those savings and putting them back into the market. The problem with oil prices right now is where's the bottom?
Right.
You know, we're at close to this week. It dipped under 30, which is a 12-year low.
Wow.
A year or 6 months ago, everybody was saying 30 was going to be the bottom. Now they're saying 20 is going to be the bottom.
Where's the bottom?
Where does the bottom hit?
Right.
The problem is that if you're in oil or any type of market volatility, and it goes down 20%, you got to get back up 30+% just to get back to even.
And from what I've understand kind of about the oil industry right now is that as these prices go low, really the only oil producers that can kind of hold up are like the Saudis or things like that, because the U.S. market's really based on shale oil. Mm-hmm. And shale oil is a lot more expensive to produce than the oil that they just, put the straw in the ground and it comes right out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the U.S. is dealing with right now. And I think that affects a lot of other industries that the U.S. industry is connected to, the U.S. oil industry.
That is correct. And that's what we're seeing right now. The other thing I want to point out is, again, unfortunately, we tend to have short-term memories.
Always.
So we forget what it was like back in 2008 where the market was going down 50-60%. We forget how good it was between the 2001 and 2007 and 2009 and 2015. The thing that was weird, though, is if you go back and look last summer, is all the negative news that was coming out The market was still going up.
Yeah.
All right? It absolutely made no sense. Is you get negative stuff and the stock prices would go up, kind of like what real estate did 7 years
I think
ago.
it was because of the Fed too, right? Because so the negativity came out, and the Fed's like, "Oh, well, we're going to keep rates low."
Yep.
So that's what made it counterintuitive there.
Sure.
But if you just joined us, you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Michael Lysenko, our safe money coach, talking about the market, things happening going on out there. Michael, and one thing I see too is that people just in general, they're going to put more thought and time into their fantasy football picks or their vacation than they do a serious retirement plan.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you really quick. We're in the middle of football season, playoffs, and everything else.
Yep.
I can tell everybody exactly who's going to win this weekend. You don't even have to watch the games.
Vegas?
Nope, guaranteed to win. You want to know who's going to win this weekend?
Who's that?
Whoever scores the most points.
There you go. Yeah.
But you're right, though. People do spend more time planning vacations and looking at fantasy football and all this. They don't think about money, and the reason for that is because we're not taught how money works.
Yeah.
We're not taught the things that the big institutions and the big investors and the multi-billionaires that are out there moving the markets. We're not taught about that stuff. So as small investors, and we're passionate about retirement and distribution and how much money we're going to live on, but we never sit down and we figure out what's driving those numbers. And the one thing that we do is we sit down and we design a perfect savings plan around people. So, for instance, do you want decent returns, no risk, no taxes, early access? What are those features that you would like to have as part of your savings plan or your retirement plan? We identify that first, and then we go out and we scour the landscape to find out who offers those programs, and we customize it specifically for the individual.
The one that you put together for me is awesome. I tell you, it's got the death benefit, it's got the the living side. If something were to happen to me, I can access funds. It has a lot of different. I'm protected from the downside. I'm still taking advantage of the upsides.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference. So most people were kind of programmed. If we think back to, we had pension plans back in the day. So now a lot of the pension plans have gone. And then now it's okay, well, let's put it in a 401k. What happens is they pull money out of their paycheck, thrown in a 401k, which most of the time is eaten up with crazy fees because of their mutual funds and these different companies that are not fiduciaries. That's a big point.
Yeah, fees
I want to
and
talk
taxes.
about fiduciary in the next segment, as well as we're going to get William Crowley involved. He's on the line here. But I think the fact that you're a fiduciary is a huge, huge thing.
It makes a big difference.
Big time.
It really does.
So we're going to define what the fiduciary is, and we're going to talk about, some of the alternative investment opportunities and alternatives to your everyday choices that you think you have by your provider. And, and we're going to have an offer for you, too, something that you want to think about in terms of, going against the status quo. Why would you continue to do what you're doing and at least getting a checkup? So we're going to talk about that. Also, more bad news for renters. CNN Money got an interesting article here. More bad news for renters when we come back. And more from our experts in studio. Danny with Full House Liquidation. We're going to do some Ask the REQB questions sent in from our social medias. And if you haven't checked us out online, check out our different pages. We really need subscribers on YouTube. And Facebook friends, Instagram followers, and all that good stuff. So you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Jason Solomon, co-host in studio as well. And we're going to go to the phones here. We got William Crowley, a.k.a. the Credit Magician, calling in. Hey, William, there, bud?
Yeah, can you hear me, buddy?
I got you. We got you loud and clear. So William Crowley is our credit expert, identity theft prevention, and the Credit Magician. What's going on in your world, man?
Hey, nothing much. I'm sitting here listening to this exciting show, Danny Triplett with Full House Liquidation and Michael Lysenko, the Safe Money Coach.
That's right.
Just wanted to kind of chime in on that. I heard him talking about guaranteeing the football game, the scores this weekend for the winners. So I agree with that. The highest score. So I want to make another guarantee for your interest rate with the banks. If you're going to use the banks, the higher your credit score, the better rate you're going to get.
That's right.
So, and my job is I deal with I'm known as the Credit Magician, and I want to really be able to emphasize to people, be proactive with these credit scores as well, just like you're doing with the Safe Money Coach Mike Lysenko, and preparing for whatever the economy is going to do. And I want to remind people that just remember that it was all rigged on the side of the bankers as well. And the Glass-Steagall Act, the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act, was one of the prerequisites for this situation. But nevertheless, I am the Credit Magician, so I want to focus on the credit, and that is that use the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and aspects of the Uniform Commercial Code when dealing with your credit. They're intentionally not teaching this information because the less we know, the more advantages that these financial institutions have over us. So the more knowledge we have, then we can be proactive and, have access to better rates and more strategic financial investment advantages. So please, just keep me informed or call me with any questions regarding this Fair Credit Reporting Act and improving your credit, because the credit out there that people have, I know the market is fluctuating up and down, and it's hard for us to keep up with that. But one thing we can keep up with is making sure that our credit is up to par and knowing the legalities around it and keeping it protected.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And William has a free credit package that he offers. We give it out each time he calls in. And the thing about credit is we weren't taught it in school. There's no credit police out there running around taking care of this stuff for you. So we want to make you more street smart here with the Real Estate Quarterback Show. I want to educate, entertain, but most importantly, we want to engage you and help you live a better life. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer this free credit package for the first 5 listeners who text or call to our Consumer Advocate Hotline. It's 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
So the free credit package is going to teach you a few things. It's going to teach you how to opt out of pre-screening, reduce all that junk mail coming to your mailbox, cut off the junk mail, and reduce those chances. And it's also going to teach you how to get an actual free credit report. William can help you with this. And if you want to sit down with William, he'll make house calls, come out to your home or office, and sit down with you and go over all this in person and kind of look at a plan to get back on track. So, hey, for the first 5 listeners who text the word credit to our Consumer Advocate Hotline, text credit to 813-917-1894. We're going to give you this free credit package. You can also visit realestateradiotampa.com or text credit. First 5 listeners are going to get this free credit package, 813-917-1894. So what else are you seeing out there, William?
Well, I hear that you're talking about bad news for the renters, so that must mean good news for the buyers. And if that's the case, make sure your credit's up to par in order to finance these properties or the houses that you're going to be buying.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thanks for calling in. Good seeing you again at the party last night, man, and a lot of good things happening with the show, and we'll catch up with you later on, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
Take care. All right, so let's talk about this. We kind of hinted at this before the break, Jason. More bad news for renters. Bad news for renters. Don't expect much relief in 2016. It says the experts predict rents will rise even faster than inflation, increasing around 3 to 5% on a national level. We're already in a rental affordability crisis in 2016. Won't let up, says the chief economist at Zillow. So, yeah, we're seeing these rents rising. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's kind of two sides to that whole thing. I think on the first side, the rents are going up. And so if for all the investors out there, this is an incredible time to be buying, investment grade properties. We have a lot of partnerships with wholesalers. We ourselves have listings that are already income producing, like one of the ones you talked about earlier in the show. Yep. So first things first is, all the investors out there that are interested in kind of getting into the market, give us a call at 813-917-1894. We'd love to sit down with you and kind of put, that portfolio together for you. And then on the second thing, for all the renters out there, you got to get off that horse. You know what I mean? Think about it. It's going up every year. You're getting nothing out of it. You know what I mean? You're just throwing that money away. You might as well light it on fire. So I think those are kind of the two sides I'd like to say for all the listeners out there. Yeah,
you got to have a roof over your head. You got to live somewhere, but you're not taking advantage of these tax write-offs, the incentives that you have, the equity buildup, and you can't throw the cool parties, right?
Yeah, and most of the time your mortgage can be less than your rent, so you got to keep that in mind.
Exactly. That is absolutely.
So that's the other thing. Right now, with interest rates still at all-time lows, it's a great time to be getting back into the as an owner or buyer versus a renter, because rates are probably only going up from here. We just don't know when.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do this offer then for our renters out there. If you're renting and you're on the fence about home ownership, you might not know, you might need a credit fix. There's just some questions. We want you to take that step. If you're brave enough to take action, we're going to help you follow through with it. So text the word rent and the amount of rent that you're paying to the hotline at 813-917-1894, and we'll also take care of you there. So we'll give you a rent versus own analysis. It's going to break down the numbers for you. If you need help, you need an introduction to one of our lending partners. We got great lenders involved with the show. Shouts out to Mark and Tony over at Integrity Financial Services, and Kurt Lorden and Corey Jeffries over at Interlink Mortgage, two of our really awesome lenders here. Local lenders support the local economy here in Tampa Bay. So let's go ahead and shift gears. Let's talk a little bit more. I want to get back to Michael here, and I think we got some Ask the REQB questions as well.
Well, real quick, Michael, actually, something I kind of wanted to get your take on is, I was reading a Market Watch article, and it said that $3.2 trillion has been wiped off the global stock markets since the beginning of January. When we're talking about
2 weeks.
Yeah, so when we're talking about volatility, we're not talking about your typical type of, it lost 1%, it went up 1%. This is true volatility.
Yeah, and when does it stop? That's the question. And where do you want to be? I mean, could it turn around today? Sure. It could tease us and go back down again. We just don't know. And I like to take a global approach because, and the thing I love about the Real Estate Quarterback show and program that Brandon you've put together is that everybody works together to help people focus on one thing. Like Tony Robbins says, the money game. I know you're going down to do a Tony Robbins thing this weekend, which is amazing. But it's all about your money. Yeah. And we've created a strategic partnership with getting credit, getting out of debt, protecting your money, making more money when you pass away and your estate sells. It's all about money. And if you do it right, we only have a limited resource. And if you do it right, you end up keeping more of your money. So if you can get lower interest rates, take advantage of it. If you can get better credit so you can pay less in interest, where can all that extra money go? It can go into savings. It can go into long term. It can go into other things that are important to you. If you can protect your money against market losses, a 20% loss, if you protect yourself from that, is a 20 to 30% gain on your money. People don't think about that. And so instead of going and say, okay, I'm going to get into the best investment, hottest thing, latest, greatest thing, develop a strategy. That's my message for people. Develop a strategy around what's important to you. You had mentioned earlier, right before the break, about the difference between a fiduciary and most advisors. Well, a fiduciary is what we call a trusted advisor. It's somebody that's on your team. And everybody should have a team of people they work with to create financial security, to create financial prosperity, if you will. A fiduciary works for that person. So instead of coming in with a bunch of great investment ideas or savings ideas or programs, we sit down, we do a consultation. It's free of charge. Figure out what you want to do. Do you like the volatility? Do you like risk? Where are you at? How much income do you need for retirement? What do you need to replace? And we develop a program specifically designed for each person. And I know you'll talk about the offer, but I just want to share something really quick, what you said earlier. It used to be parents, grandparents, we'd all have pensions.
Yeah.
You'd work for a company for 30 years. You knew exactly how much money you were going to live on.
Yep.
You talk to people that have pensions, their lifestyle is markedly better than people that don't.
Yeah.
Because it's guaranteed, you know the income's going to come in. Well, we went from pensions to a 401k system,
right,
which now we have to be responsible for putting our money in. The government's involved, the regulations with taxes and contribution limits and that. So I always tell people is the problem with our our money game is we've gone from the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to the gold watch, now to the golden arches.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Because if you don't have enough money to live on, you're still working in retirement.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to avoid.
And you're shopping at the Golden Arches because it's the cheapest form of food, so you can survive. Yeah, and just think about the stress too. The stress that goes around. If you want to chase stocks, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have some really big ups and downs with certain strategies there. But it's Michael Lysenko is a safe money coach. He's going to sit down with you and help you with this. And again, you may have an advisor that you've been working with for years, and he might be a great person. He or she might be awesome, but it never hurts to get a second look. Let's get that second look today. Let's take action.
Yeah, and the majority of what we do is we set up plans. I call it gaps. And the thing that's interesting, I was reading this article the other day that if you're making $50,000 a year and you're putting in 10% of your salary, so $5,000 a year into your 401k for until age 67, till retirement, and full Social Security, you'll make up 76% of income of that $50,000. All right. So think about this. If you're living on 50 and you have 10% money going into your qualified account, Social Security, 76% of that 50 grand, or about $37,000 is what's coming into you for retirement.
Yeah.
If you make $250,000 a year and you make the same 10, we can't do 10%. You can only do 17.5 in your 401k and full Social Security. You're only making 36% of what you were making while you were working.
Wow. See, that's too much math for the morning. He starts talking the numbers. And I'm just
but
kidding.
Here's the point, though. That it's not about the math. It's about the gap. The question is how much income do you want to live on in retirement? And you might be working with advisors. You might have other people. We want to show you ways of making up that gap.
Yeah, it's about taking action, building a better legacy for your family. So we're coming into our next break, but let's squeeze that offer. If you want to sit down with Michael, he's going to sit down with you. He'll make house calls. He'll sit down with you. We've got an office over there in Town and Country as well, West Hillsborough Avenue. But text Safe Money to our consumer advocate hotline, 813-917-1894. For the first 5 listeners, we're limiting that to the first 5 listeners that text Safe Money to 813-917-1894. We'll put you in touch with Michael. He's a fiduciary, and he's a partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, one of the finest folks here in Tampa Bay that's going to help you with all of your retirement needs. So you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show and realestateradiottampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And we got an all-star lineup for you here today. Got a great show happening. We're going to go into our Ask the REQB segments here shortly. Social media, we want to engage. Use hashtag Ask the REQB on all of your social media for your questions. And before we get to that, I want to touch on a couple of hot listings here. I've got a 0 Merlin Drive property up in Newport Richey. It's $79,000. It's a unique fly-in community. So it says build your dream home and an airplane hangar on this beautiful wooded lot. And I got to give shouts out to Captain Will Smith, also helping me get my pilot license, teaching me how to fly. And I'm going to be finishing that up in the next couple of months here. Going to be doing my first solo. So shouts out to Captain Will Smith. He's got half off his Discovery flights right now as well, if you think you might want to get into that. And I've got a great lot over here in Bayport Community and Bayside East as well. It's 5603 East Longboat. This is a nice lot. Another developable lot here, and it's surrounded by multi-million-dollar properties. We're actually just shy of $1 million properties, and it's only at $199,000. Great opportunity to buy. And also 7526 Lithia Pinecrest Road in Lithia. This is a $299,000 property, and it's an opportunity to own your own business. 2.2 acres on Lithia Pinecrest Road, and it's a main building, measures 80 by 48, and has an office, a workroom, a 2-story showroom. So reach out to the Real Estate Quarterback Show and check out our website, realestateradiotampa.com, for all of your real estate needs. See links and pictures of all of our partners in studios, contact information, and blogs as well. So, Jason, let's go ahead and jump into the Ask the REQB, man.
Yes, we're back with another edition of Ask the Real Estate Quarterback, brought to you by Platinum MVP Realty. And our first question is actually to come from Jay via email, who wanted to know, the market has been getting hammered lately, and I'm worried about another crash like 2008 or even worse. What advice do you have for the investors out there? Michael, I think this is right up your alley.
Buyer beware. It's good to have some money on the sideline. There is going to be a bottom. We just don't know where it is. You want to take a good look at what your positions are and make some decisions. I just think that it's nice to have a game plan. Define what it is you're trying to accomplish, and get some professional. I hate to say professional help, but get some opinions, some professional opinions.
Sure.
Sit down. Let's take a look at different things and see if there's other things out there that might be better suited at this particular time for what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Sure. And I think it actually kind of shows like what a crazy world we're living in right now, because I just saw the other day actually an article come out where one of JP Morgan's higher ups, I think it might have been their CEO, was actually recommending an investment in cash to just keep your money in cash as opposed to having it in the market. So like what a weird world we're living in that like the CEO of a bank would recommend just keep your money in cash. And you
read the highlights here, the headlines of some of these stories. Europe on the brink of financial meltdown, and Germany faces economic ruin.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the stories that are out there. Now, is a lot of that shock factor for these websites to get you to click through, or what's the level of worry here?
Well, I think good news is contagious, and so is negative. Bad news, I think bad news is just more contagious.
Yeah,
sure. So again, people don't want to lose money, so I think a lot of it is a fear factor. We don't know. I think that the main thing is that we don't have any control on our money when it's in the stocks and mutual funds. It's exciting because there's growth opportunities, but we have no control over it.
Sure.
Some people call it the Wall Street casino. Obviously, you want to make sure that the money that's there, if you lose it, it's not going to ruin your life type of thing. But we just don't know. I heard a story yesterday that some people are just recommend that you sell everything.
Yeah.
Sell everything, take your losses, get out. I don't necessarily think that's the best strategy.
Yeah, it's a little extreme, but hey, get a review, get with Michael, let's get the review. And let's get Danny's question in there, Jay.
Sure, yeah. So the second question is actually going to come from Jane via email. And once again, for any of you guys out there who have questions, you can always email us. All of our contact information is on realestateradiotampa.com. And Jane wanted to know, I'm cleaning out my mother's home, and I'm wondering what items I should really be looking out for that may have value.
Well, the obvious things like art, a lot of times, things like jewelry. A lot of times families, to be honest with you, there's a lot of jewelry out there that people don't really look into. They don't pay attention to. There's costume jewelry, and even costume jewelry can have some value. We've sold costume pieces for $600-700 for one little bracelet or a ring.
Wow.
So I mean, a lot of times, if you don't know anything about costume jewelry, you'll overlook a lot of things and value money in the home. So artwork, jewelry, whether it be costume or real. What else? Good questions, though.
Leaving money on the table.
Well, can I add something to that? I was telling you last night, or you said something last night about somebody that you went through and you actually found things that they thought were worthless, and you actually got what, $10,000 for
up
them?
at Sotheby's in New York City.
Yeah, explain. Go through that one. That was a pretty fascinating story.
Oh, yeah, Norman. Yeah, the lady had her father was good friends with Norman Rockwell because her father was the vice president of Top Value Stamps back in the day, which were those little redemption stamps you'd put in. You'd fill up in them, and then you could get their catalog and order things out of their catalog based on how many stamps you could put in the little book, when you went to the grocery store. Well, her father had hired Norman Rockwell to paint some covers, just like he did for Saturday Evening Post, to paint some pictures that became the covers of those the Top Value catalogs. Well, what she had in her dresser drawer were actual pencil etchings of Norman Rockwell's that he had when he came up with the ideas for these certain paintings, the conceptual pencil etchings. Yep. And they were just on little pieces of paper with his little signature, and she didn't know if they were worth anything. We sent them off and made her $10,000.
That's awesome.
Wow. Amazing.
You're leaving money on the table with your estate sales. You're leaving money on the table with your for sale by owner properties. You're leaving money on the table with your investment plans. I mean, that's the theme of this show.
It's your money.
Exactly.
It's your money.
And now,
That's
Danny,
right.
when you're talking about art, I mean, like my daughter makes art. She's 3, but how much could I get for that? What do you think?
Well, you know what they say. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
All right.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Tell Me Something Good segment. Now, what we want to do with this segment is that we talked about the doom and gloom that the mainstream media likes to portray and some of the things happening, but we're going to tell you some good stuff happening going on right now.
Tell me something good.
All right, we got a Good Samaritan in Riverview here. I want to give shouts out to Anita DeBaisi. She cooks meals for the homeless through Thorn Ministries from a backyard building. She makes 150 meals, but sometimes lacks and needs more. When the building's roof began leaking, DeBaisi began to worry about the mold and mildew, and so she ended up reaching out to ABC Action News. They supply and got a company to donate materials for the labor, and she says she's just so appreciative for that.
Tell me something good.
We did an estate sale for an antique sale for a museum up in Dade City back in November, right before Thanksgiving, and the Pioneer Florida Museum in Dade City. They're a great community organization and a museum. They do a lot of events for the community. They're located, like I said, in Dade City, East Pasco County. A lot of their events they have once a month draw large crowds, and it's all about legacy. You talk a lot about creating a lasting legacy. It is all the museum's basically about keeping that in the minds of our youth, and educating them to what did it used to be like here in Florida? There's a lot of antiques there. I mean, buildings full of antiques. And we went in there and did an antique sale for them, a large one, created a lot of revenue for them, and they were able to take that money and create some new additions on their museum, which were like a dental room, a doctor's room, full of antiques that have been donated through the years. So the Pioneer Florida Museum in Dade City, if you've never been there, it's a great fun. They just had an event we went to last weekend called the Raising Cane, and we went out there and saw how they make cane syrup. And there's there's grease pole climbing and all kinds of fun events. It's a great community event.
Awesome. We got about a minute left, Michael.
Tell me something good.
I heard the story of a guy in New York City that gave a shirt to a homeless guy. Just off of, he just saw somebody that was in need and gave a shirt off of his own back. And it just brought to mind to me that there's opportunities everywhere we go if we're focused more outwards than inwards.
Yeah.
And so it's important that our needs are taken care of. We make sure they're taken care of, because if we're not focusing so much on what's going on in our lives, we can be more outwardly focused on what's going on in others.
That's right, man. What I do, a lot of times you have leftovers. You put it in a couple little grocery bags, carry it in your car. You see that guy on the corner, you give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. It's just a way to pay it forward and helping others live a better life. And I want to thank everybody for coming in. A great show. Thanks for everyone in the room and all the executive producers behind the scenes. And made a big decision this week. We're going to a daily show format. More details to come. We've got a nationally televised TV show coming out as well, and a lot of cool things happening around the Real Estate Quarterback Show. A lot of great partners and great quality introductions that I can make for you. So let me quarterback these introductions and help you live a better life. We'll see you next week, same time and place. RealEstateRadioTampa.com.